Well, since House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan earlier in August, the region has been on a knife's edge, if you will, as China has ramped up military movements off the shores of the island. Taiwan has responded in kind, with troops firing warning shots for the first time on a Chinese drone intruding on an outer island this week, and as officials there vow to defend against any Chinese entry into their territory. But the battle over Taiwan goes back not just decades, but centuries. So what is driving the conflict, and how are the people of Taiwan responding to the U.S. visits and the threat from China? ABC's Bob Woodruff traveled across the island to find out.
Here in Taiwan, tensions are escalating. In response to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's controversial recent trip, the Chinese government fired off 11 weaponized ballistic missiles toward Taiwan. 4 of them went right over the top of the island into the sea.
What do you think about Nancy Pelosi coming here?
Pelosi is the most senior U.S. official to visit Taiwan in 25 years, but more congressional delegations quickly followed. These visits are consistently angering the Chinese government. Much of that anger pointed at Taiwanese President Tsai Ing-wen, who continues to invite U.S. politicians and increasingly advocates for the future independence of Taiwan. This week, she addressed troops at 2 military bases. Chinese President Xi Jinping sees Taiwan as his country's territory under a one China principle. Though the U.S. has never officially denied China's claim over Taiwan, it continues to supply Taiwan with military training and weapons. To understand the state of the region and how Pelosi's visit shook things up, we traveled all around the edges of this island, by car, by train, by boat, and by plane, even by a military C-130. Our first stop, Hualien Air Force Base on the eastern coast.
This is one of the military operations where they're trying to show us exactly how advanced the Taiwanese military is. And this is the base where those 4 missiles were fired by China for the first time to land over here to the east in the ocean. Are you worried at all about China attacking Taiwan?
No, I'm a soldier. To protect our nation is my responsibility.
Most of Taiwan's high-tech weapons have been sold to them by the U.S., including this F-16V fighter.
So you see the F-16s flying over the top. You see the weaponry around. There's one right now.
With more threats from China, the military here is training day and night.
Are you flying more often now than you did, say, 3-4 weeks ago?
I would say definitely the alert jets have been sending out more frequently, but everybody's ready for it.
From here, we headed to the southernmost tip of the island, where retired military radio operator Robin Su has started tracking China's military jets, recording conversations between American, Chinese, and Taiwanese pilots.
U.S. aircraft, this is Chinese Navy warship 577. Keep a safe distance and a safe altitude from me.
Did you see any of the jets that were flying around from the Chinese?
Yes, Taiwan. Yes, Philippines.
Uh-huh.
They're waiting for Pelosi here.
That's where the Chinese were flying through.
Yes.
So Robin just told us that there's a drill being carried out about 20 minutes away where we just were.
Out here in the countryside, this is what happens almost every night. Helicopter pilots developing their skills, firing at targets in the dark.
Do you think that your country is ready for China?
Not yet. Yeah. So they need training, and training.
Next, we head up the west coast, and then a flight over the Taiwan Strait, the now controversial strip of water between China and Taiwan. These are the Kinmen Islands, just 4 miles away from China's coast. That skyline across the water is the city of Xiamen. Throughout its history, Kinmen, like the rest of Taiwan, was passed through the hands of stronger powers. Centuries ago, Kinmen was a remote trading and fishing outpost under Imperial China. By the 1600s, the region, including much of Taiwan's main island, was colonized by the Dutch. Soon after, it was wrestled back by the Chinese. But in 1895, Japan took control of Taiwan Island and then Kinmen, only to give up control because of their defeat in World War II.
In Taiwan, we fought it very hard and sacrificed, tens of thousands of lives for democracy.
Ren Wu is one of Taiwan's top historians.
Geopolitically speaking, Taiwan, has been, placed in an impossible position, right? It's caught between empires.
In 1949, after Mao Zedong and the Communist Party won the civil war on China's mainland, many in the ousted nationalist government fled to Taiwan, leaving the island's international legal status undetermined. Kinmen Island remained under Taiwan's control. These metal spikes were planted then to stop China's military boats from landing. While the ships were kept away, this island remained an occasional target. Today, the island is a tourist spot where many can learn about Taiwan's centuries-long struggle for self-governance. Most we spoke to said they hope China won't attack, because if they do, the dream of Taiwan's self-determination will die.
You think it's impossible for them to attack?
Yeah. But if it happens, yeah, that's all.
It's all like it's over? Or
yeah, it's over. It's over.
But even with today's tensions, locals in Daxi, a fishing town in the north, seem somewhat ambivalent. Many there say they don't fear a war with China, but say they need to be ready to stand up if it does happen.
我们这么20几年，他每天都喊都狼来，我们不怕。
对啊，还是要靠自己啊，要不怎么办？如果他遇到了，他一直来，你没有反抗他，他就会越过分啊。
That national pride in bracing for war was also evident on the streets of Taipei.
如果中共来，我照样拿起武器对抗。
This is the capital city, where the island's past meets the present, and where its national identity has started taking shape after decades of being controlled by others.
Taiwan has been a pawn on the chessboard, right? And then, superpowers, they struggle over this pawn. After, democratization, for the first time, these people, Taiwanese people, began to speak for themselves.
But with Xi Jinping in power, China's view of Taiwan as a part of China has only strengthened.
Xi Jinping arose, and then he's now claiming, sovereignty over Taiwan.
But a desire for independence in Taiwan has grown at the same time, especially with the younger generation. The Kuomintang Party, or KMT, ruled Taiwan for much of its history, from 1949 to the end of the 1990s. They were an early ally to the U.S., but ruled with an authoritarian iron grip, only lifting martial law in 1987. While statues of former leader Chiang Kai-shek were once spread around Taiwan, now hundreds have been removed. Almost 280 of them moved to this park. Protesters have even thrown eggs at his statues. This time, Chili Chen, the founder of an anti-China organization called Taiwan Republic.
We are fighting for our freedom. We are working on our democracy.
Do you think China would ever invade Taiwan?
I don't know could it be happen or not, but anyway, if it happened, we are here fighting for it.
This civilian military training outside the capital has been a hobby for some for years, but the interest is rising, partly because of China's aggression, but especially in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Andy Ye told us that because of what happened to Ukraine and China's increased pressure, he wants to learn how to use these weapons to protect his family if necessary.
Finally, we Chinese people understand what, the American said, during the revolution, right? Give me liberty or give me death.
Do you think you'd be accepting death?
Well, at least I will, personally. I cannot speak for others, but I will.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.